PlayStation Mobile. It was a great experiment. We got some good games out of it, but Sony didn't handle it the best, and now it's going away. So maybe you came here looking for the 40 best games you could possibly get, and we'll go over those. Just to tell you right off the bat, I did not put video in here because this video has a short lifespan, so I'm just going to have static images and talk about them. If you want to just see the same static images and see the text that I'm going to talk about, you can just go to Villigent Gamers down there below. I have a link to all four parts, so you should be able to just go there and read it faster than you could listen to it. But if you want to listen, you can listen. A short note here is that I didn't include Vita games that have superior versions like Cubix, Aqua Kitty, Surge Deluxe, Rock Boshers. Get the native versions; they're a lot better for those. Not worth the saving $2 to get an inferior version. Get the version that has better graphics and runs better and has trophies. Let's hit it. Number 40, Myosin Can Rock. It's a 2D stealth game where you need to collect videotape evidence of your sex and distract gamer grannies with underpants. It's creepy, but it's still fun. If you're okay with creepy games, you might want to check it out. Bloodred Wyvern. This is like a Panzer Dragoon game, but it's not really good. It's a good try, but at least somebody tried to make a Panzer Dragoon game. Buba. It's a puzzle game, kind of like the classic Snake game, but you get power ups to kind of so you can kind of change colors to kind of go over your path. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's not the best puzzle game on PlayStation Mobile, but it's not the worst. It's all right. Tuffy the Corgi and the Tower of Bones. It looks like a standard 2D platform, but it's kind of hard because there's two buttons. One's to turn and one's to jump, and you're constantly running. It's kind of harder than it should be. Can be a little bit frustrating, but it's an interesting concept. Check it out if you're into that. Super Tank Poker. Yeah, it's kind of an Advance Wars clone, but you actually fight the battles by playing 5-card draw, which is kind of interesting. It gives you a little more than the randomness of Advance Wars. Unfortunately, it's kind of poorly done. It needs more work. I would like to see this game kind of fleshed out with some more polish. This is some terrible AI, and the controls are really baffling, and there's no explanation. It takes a while to figure out how to do things, and the on-screen prompts are not there to kind of tell you what's going on. Somebody should make an awesome game with this concept. Blast Ninja. It's an auto runner, but it's there's quite a few auto runners out there, but this one's super stylish and has great music. The only problem with it doesn't have much content. There's basically like 4 levels, but it's 50 cents. Hard to beat 50 cents. Trucks and Skulls. It's an Angry Birds clone, but I don't know why I played this a lot, but I enjoyed it. It was stupid. There's lots of content here. It runs poorly and it's ugly, but what are you gonna do? I liked it. Run and Dodge Football. It's a 50-cent game of stupidity. You just have to avoid obstacles and see how long you can go. No idea why I like this game so much. It's dumb. Pop Bugs Zap. There's a lot of popping games out there. Play on your phone. You just pop things and things ricochet and explode. But this one has a bit of strategy to it. Not that dependent on luck, but it's a good looking game, and it's fun to watch the chain reactions go off on this game, so I recommend it. Chimpact. It's kind of like a platformer with you move around, Angry Birds type, Angry Birds like. You're trying to collect bananas. It's not very hard. It takes a little while to get interesting, but it's a good looking game. Gun Commando. They created this awesome Doom engine, but then they made it really repetitive and not much content here. You might want to just buy Duke Nukem for Vita, but this is kind of an interesting experiment. MonokeSlashdown. It's a 2D brawler. It's really repetitive, but it's fun for a game or two at a time. Super Skull Smash Go. This is a Thomas Hopper game. It's very Commodore 64, but it'll puzzle your brain. It's a puzzle platformer. It kind of needed the coat of polish, but it's an interesting game. It's worth looking at. It's 50 cents. MUSYNC. It's a Japanese pop rhythm game. It's a little too hard for me. I don't have robot-like reflexes. There's a lot of music here, though, but I don't like J-pop, so I don't know if it's good J-pop. Arctic Adventures Brain Freeze. It's a puzzle game. It sticks close to that classic Chips Challenge formula. It's probably the best puzzle game. There's 50 levels to go through. It'll keep you busy. You can actually unlock 100 more for like $4 if you really want more games. But it's $2. It's well worth the money, and it's about the same as the PS3 version. Jaggy Race. It's kind of a platformer, auto runner. It looks better than it actually plays because it has an awkward camera, but it's worth checking out. It's interesting. Out of Mind. It's a traditional 2D platformer, but it has a whole lot of weird. This is a Thomas Hopper, and he does it very similar with Console Saga, and I think that's a better game, but this is worth 50 cents. Oh Dear Alpha. It's a racing game of running over deer for fuel. I thought this was hard control. Some people say I'm just not doing it right, maybe because I'm playing it like Outrun. I don't know. It has one track, but it's worth it checking out if you're into retro style racers. Haunt the House Terrortown. This game's beautiful, but it's kind of like a toy. It's not that hard. You're supposed to scare away people from the hotel. It's really interactive, but it's not really that much of a game. I don't know. There's a score, but I don't know how you can get a better score. It doesn't really explain that. But it's awesome to watch to get people scared and run away from the house. It's worth checking out. Definitely, it's an interesting game. Bike Rider DX. It's kind of like Jaggi Race, but it doesn't look as nice as Jaggi Race. But I think it plays better. There's lots of levels to keep you busy, and I played a lot of this game for some reason. I don't know. It's a phone game, but I'm into those. Adventure Bar Labyrinth. It's good free to play action RPG. It's a bit generic, but yeah, it's fun to play. It's got some free to play aspect to it, and it can get kind of ugly with that, but it's worth checking out. It's free. Curse of the Crescent Isle DX. It's a standard 2D platformer with some puzzle aspects, and the controls aren't that responsive, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and there's a lot of content there. It looks pretty good. Console Saga. It's a 2D platform with Strider-like swinging mechanics. It's a real steal at 50 cents. I think it's Thomas Hopper's finest. Little Acorns. It's a standard 2D platformer of collecting objects to open a door to finish the level. It's EA Chilango's weakest release. Roll in the Hole. This is another EA Chilango. Chilango? I don't know. Chilango release. It has simple controls of left and right to guide the rolling panda to the objective. It's a very phone game, but I thought it was fun. Passing Time. This is actually released by Sony. Sony actually put a few games out on PlayStation Mobile. You tap tap your guys to pass the ball around, and you avoid the defenders. It's really simple, but I had a good time with it. Just check it out. Feed Me Oil. This is another EA Chilango release. It's kind of a physics-based puzzle game of it's one of those ones with fluids where you have to get it into the little bucket. You place different objects to kind of guide the fluid. It's a quality game. You should check it out. It's very touch-based though. Life of Pixel. It's a very hard 2D platformer. It's pretty standard platformer. It doesn't really have anything unique about it, but the thing about it is that you kind of progress through the visual styles of different games. You start off with 2600 and you work your way up to 16-bit video games, and it kind of emulates the style of the different platforms pretty well. It's pretty interesting. Just wish it wasn't as frustrating as it is. 60-second shooter deluxe. It's not the best twin stick shooter, but it has a unique concept of lasting only 60 seconds to achieve a high score. It's kind of wonky, but kind of not the prettiest game, but it works. And there's better twin stick shooters out in the Vita, but it's cheap and fun. It's different. Gunhouse. This is an awesome game of mixing a puzzle game with a real-time strategy game. Basically, you put together blocks to kind of get things that you can kind of deploy, and then you keep away the defenders from attacking your base. It's hard to explain. It's a really unique concept. You should check it out. Chaos Rings. It's a Square Enix RPG. It goes back to like simple RPGs of being turn-based. I'm not a fan of the complicated ones that come out these days, but I had a lot of fun with this because it's kind of back to basics, turn-based RPGs. Cardboard Castle. It's a beautiful touch-based puzzle game. It's a very phone game, but it runs here well on your Vita and it looks awesome. You should check it out. Boothill Heroes Part 1. It's a 90s style RPG that has a very unique Wild West setting. People have often compared it to Earthbound. I've never played Earthbound, so I assume they're right. But it's kind of a 90s style. The combat's kind of active, but not really. It's turn-based. It's interesting. Has a strong story. Might be better on Steam because in Steam you can play with co-op. Switch Galaxy. It's a racer where you switch from the different lanes using just left and right. That's your only controls. You go faster the longer you don't hit obstacles, and once you reach high speeds, it's really exhilarating. You need to run a little bit smoother. Don't purchase the PlayStation 4 Vita version. It changes the whole how you play the game to be a collectathon instead of actually racing, and it's really boring. Do not buy it. Buy this version instead. It's actually pretty good. Hermit Crab in Space. You build ships by acquiring parts, and you configure your ship the different ways. And it's kind of physics-based where you have to, navigate your ship by where you put your engines. It's hard to explain, but it's a lot of fun. You can really use your creative muscles to build an awesome ship, and it's fun to get it around. I played a lot of this game. Tokyo Jungle Mobile. You have a dog and you're trying to survive in post-apocalyptic Japan. It's kind of a roguelike. It's not as good as the PS3 version, but it's still a lot of fun. Most of the games here, it needs to be a lot more polished. It's kind of ugly and kind of rough, but it works. I think Tokyo Jungle Jungle formula is a little more suited for like a mobile platform than it is sitting on your PS3. Rebel, you navigate your prison escapee around to get your other enemies to shoot each other. Kind of unlock power-ups. Your idea, it's a high score chaser, but it's really addictive. You should check it out. Behind you, it's kind of like a old school Metal Gear Solid, like the PS1 game, stealth game. It could use a lot more content, but it's really polished and really looks good and works well. You should definitely check it out if you're into stealth games. Super Crate Box at number 2. This is a 2D Mario Brothers style game, except you have a gun and it randomly changes type. So it's a lot of fun mastering the changing strategy for each weapon. Very addictive. And at number 1 we have rymdkapsel. I don't know how to say it. Some sort of Swedish word. Rymdkapsel. There's way too many consonants to be pronounced. It's described as a meditative strategy game set in space, which I think is apt because you really kind of get into this weird Zen-like state. I know it seems crazy, but it happens, and hours just peel away while playing this game. It's essentially a real-time strategy game where you kind of build your ship and you fend off enemies, but it's an amazing game. So if you didn't like me reading this, you can go to once again to the link below for in written form. There's some honorable mentions there, and I also list some of the worst games there. If you're really into ironically playing terrible games, there was some real doozies on PlayStation Mobile. Well, thanks for watching my video. I appreciate it. I'm Fried Console. Bye.